All right, guys, so today we're going to be working on a 2018 Mazda 6, and we will be replacing the rear left brake caliper due to the fact that it is seized up, and we're also going to be doing a brake flush. Whenever you do those type of things, you always want to make sure that you do the brake flush as well. But before we get started, we're going to go through a quick little CVI, and I will show all of these recommendations to the customer. All right, so this is the driver's front tire. I already took measurements, but just to show you guys, right? What you do is you just poke this out, 7, 8, 8, and it does the reading for you. So you don't have to do much. And I did that for all 4. So let's go ahead and take a look at the other ones based off of that. And this is the passenger front. We have 8, 8, 9. So over here I did 7, 7, 9, but I measured more over here while it was still on the car. But you get the gist. And remember, all of these measurements were done while on the car. So 8, 9, 9. This is going to be the passenger rear. And lastly, driver's rear, 9, 9, and 9. We're going to take a look at all 4 of the brake pads and rotors. Ahead of time, I am going to tell you I will recommend that this customer does replace all 4 brake pads and rotors for the following. You see this spot, this spot, this spot, this spot, that, and that, and that. That's called heat spots, right? So what happens is whenever you're driving 60 miles an hour or whatever, and then you start braking, it starts to heat up extremely hot to the point where sometimes, depending on how fast you go, it can turn red. And over time of so much of hot, cold, hot, cold, hot, cold, you start developing heat spots. Also, you can see right here, this brake pad is metal to metal. That's a no-no, right? You can also see it on the inside as well. So for this one, it actually measured out to 0 millimeters because it's metal on metal. Let's go ahead and move over to the passenger front. This is the driver's front. And just a disclaimer, I've already spoken to the customer prior to coming out, and he did let me know that he did ended up pad slapping. Pad slapping is when you put new brake pads on old hardware. The reason why you do not want to do that is, 1, because it will squeak. You did all that work just for it to continue squeaking because you're putting a new part on an old surface. These old surfaces has grooves in them, and they wear down into that, and it's not a matter of if it's going to squeak, it's a matter of when it squeaks. And 9 times out of 10, it's almost within a couple days or immediately. So over here, we have 7 millimeters. So right here, this is 8. It's still too big. And right here is 6 millimeters. And it has too much of a gap. So it's 7 millimeters measuring out on that pad. Now looking at the passenger rear, you can see this rotor is all the way worn down. That needs to be replaced. Also on this pad right here, that is going to be 5 millimeters. Right here's 5. You can see right there, it fits in there perfectly. But like I said, he's going to have to replace both pads and rotors. And right here is going to be the driver's rear. Once again, 8 millimeters is too big, and 6 millimeters is too much gap. So the pads on this is 7 millimeters. Once again, he's going to need to replace that because on the inner side, those rotors are showing heat spots. Guys, I understand parts are expensive, but it will only get more expensive the longer you wait to replace it. So you want to make sure that you do all of these at the exact same time. I will also inform the customer as well, but for you guys to know, whenever you're doing that, replace all of it at the exact same time. It's going to be expensive, yes, but it's going to be even more expensive the longer you wait, and it can potentially cause harm because with those type of things on the rotors where it's extremely worn down and has divots and like that, it's extremely unsafe to drive, and I would not recommend that you drive that car until you fix these issues. Battery does need to be replaced. There's the receipt as well. Taking a look at his engine filter, that needs to be replaced. It's extremely dirty. Also, the cabin filter as well, which is on the inside, needs to be replaced. And as soon as I opened up the engine, you will be able to see exactly what I'm talking about. He has a coolant leak, and that also needs to be replaced. You can see right here, all of that is, this little unit is leaking. And also his coolant reservoir is completely empty. So that also needs to be replaced and also get a coolant flush, or else this engine will overheat. Also, back here is going to be the brake flush. So even though it is going to be replaced, the reason why I'm going to do it is for two reasons. One, I can barely get the reading, and that's because it's way below the minimum line, and the minimum line is up here, and that fluid is all the way down there. So that also needs to be replaced. Once we replace everything, this car will be able to get running back to normal as intended. I already checked his tie rods, control arm, struts, and shocks, and they're all still in good condition. Now let's go ahead and get to the fun part. All right, guys. So what I'm going to end up doing is I'm going to use a power probe, and I'm going to take this off. I'm going to send 12 volts into this battery in here. So it retracts and it brings in that emergency parking brake like it would if you were to actually activate it. So let's go ahead. Oh, that came off pretty easy. And we're going to go ahead and do that. Oh, that pushed it out. So we got to reverse it. And you don't want to lock it out. If you lock it out, man, that's going to be a world of trouble. So you just reverse it and just hold that there until it stops. 1 and 2. So this right here is the inside. Let's go ahead and pop that bad boy off. So since that's already out, just hold that upside down like that. Let's go ahead and replace it with the new part. The new part comes with the bracket as well. So I'm gonna have to remove the pads. All right, let's go ahead and get that bracket bolt off. Second one came out as well. All right, so we got the bracket off. So this one already comes with everything, the bracket bolt and everything is already assembled. So the only thing I'm going to be doing is taking it off and placing it on. All right, so let's go ahead and compare parts. So this is the bracket and this is the caliper. Now, the new caliper does come with everything that I need. What I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and take off the parts on the old, and which are going to be the brake pads, and I'm just going to go ahead and transfer them over. And so that way I don't get dirt on the actual inside of the brake pads. If you see what I'm doing, I'm placing it face down. And because I am touching it, what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to lube the tips so it can slide into the new bracket with no problem, no friction, no issues. You just need a little dab. And that's going to sit in there like this. All right, got that one. Let's go ahead and do the other one. Wipe off the tip and also the back. Tip this lube. And we're going to put it on the back side. Now we're in there. Let me push the bottom of this one back. Okay, boom. Now we're ready to install properly. We're going to take the bracket bolts, put it right back on. And this little string, the customer put that on there. I'm going to take that off before this is done. One more. That's good. Go to the top. Let's go ahead and just spray this down. Brake fluid actually wears down components. Also, want to make sure you take off the proper clips completely, because if you don't, leak will happen. There we go. It's off. The back end, it sits flush like that. And because it's off, just twist. It's in there. We just do it by hand. And when I'm actually going to bolt it down, I'm going to do it with a hand tool. That thing is so fragile, it'll snap. Use a ratchet. Now, I'm just going to use this to ease it on because my hands are slippery and I don't want this to slip out. Okay. So, we got it on there. Good. So now, it's already retracted. Slip this on there. Honestly, guys, that's honestly the hardest part of the job. Just messing around with that bolt. Oh. Another super important thing to remember to do is to lube the guide pins, even if it's brand new, because it barely has lube on there. I'd rather it have too much lube and that thing can slide in there freely than not enough lube and it locks up. It's better. And let's get that bottom slide pin. And yep, there we go. That's how we want it. We want all of our parts to be able to move freely as intended. All right, guys, just a quick heads up. I already talked to the customer, and I will be coming back tomorrow to replace the brake pads and rotors, replace the battery, getting started on that brake flush now. And you can see right there that it is currently sucking out the old fluid. While it's doing that, I am going to go ahead and move around to the other side and start to clean up as we're taking care of this. I'll be back when I need to go to the next one. We have moved on to the second rotor, and it's currently bleeding out that fluid as well. And the order that you do, you always do the furthest away from the ABS module, which would be passenger rear, driver's rear, passenger front, driver's front. And that will be the pattern that we're doing. I'll be showing you guys the rest when I move on to the next one. Now we are currently at the passenger front, bleeding that. So the rear axle is completely done. And we have one more to do, which is going to be that driver's front. And when I'm done with this, I'll be back with you guys. And last but not least, guys, we are working on that front driver caliper. And we're almost done. And when we're done, I'll be right back with you guys. All right, guys, as you can see, it's up at the maximum level, which it needs to be. That brake flush is completely done. There's one more step we need to do, which is pump on the brakes. As you can see right there, I went ahead and hooked up the battery jumper to the battery just to give it life. The reason why I'm doing that is because, remember, the battery did test 0, and I want to make sure that the electronic parking brake is activated so I can enable it and then disable it again to make sure that it works properly. So now let's go ahead and pump the brakes and try to see if we can activate that electronic parking brake. If not, then tomorrow when I replace the brake pads and rotors, I'll make sure I'll go ahead and get that done during that time, because that's when I'm actually going to be replacing this battery. All right, so now I'm pumping. I want to get a hard pedal, which I am, which means that part did its job. And let's see. Nah, that battery's too dead. So tomorrow, when I come back to do the brake pads and rotors, I'm going to go ahead and activate that electronic parking brake, activate it, deactivate it, so then I know that it's working properly as it should. If you enjoyed this content, please like, share, subscribe, do it all. Engage. This helps out my YouTube channel. And people that have never heard of me, now they'll be able to, due to the fact of the interactions in YouTube like that. So they will be pushing my content to other new people that have never come across my content. All right, thank you guys. I'll see you tomorrow. Peace.